From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Overtime Podcast.
From the Fox 8 studios in New Orleans, this is the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Fazende, riding shotgun as he does each and every podcast. This is Andre Johnson Jr. Do not forget the Jr. It's very important to remember the JR at the end of the name. Before we get into today's content, be sure to like, to share, to rate, to review. If you're watching us on YouTube, you know the drill. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, get the bell notification. But when we drop that,
Fire content.
Also, hello, Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. Glad you have found us here. Glad you're enjoying the full lineup of podcasts we have on this network. The Locked On Crew, us, a couple of our friends up in Baton Rouge. So glad you have found us here. You're home for all kinds of local content. All right, Andre. Interesting day here in the city of New Orleans. First off, is everyone's heart rate kind of gone down a little bit after last night's LSU baseball game? Look, that was an instant classic. It was Tiger Magic. It was a colossal choke by the Arkansas Razorbacks. Maybe I'm getting a little softer in my old age. I legit felt bad for the head coach. I mean, what else can that poor guy do? I mean, they probably deserved to win that game, but they didn't thanks to a ninth inning collapse. LSU moves on to the National Championship Series against Coastal Carolina. How can we not acknowledge that right now? We have to acknowledge that. It was an unbelievable game. You and I were watching it. We couldn't believe it. But how you feeling today?
Oh, my goodness. You know, a lot better than I was last night. Mm-hmm. Last night, I was nervous. Down 5-3, bottom of the ninth. Yeah. I still cannot wrap my mind around why that shortstop didn't turn two. Mm-hmm. If that shortstop goes for the double play instead of the lead runner at third, we're sitting here planning for an LSU-Arkansas rematch today on Thursday. But instead, you know, hey, he didn't go for it. The left fielder tried to dive, missed it. Jared Jones came out clutch with the walk-off, and we're going to the College World Series final. I'll take it. Let's go Coastal. I do fear to clear, admittedly. But
yeah, 26-game winning streak. Yeah, so that's where we're at right now on the calendar. I mean, LSU baseball took over, and I just kind of based off social media. I don't know why college baseball isn't as popular as it should be. I love college baseball.
I enjoy it more than the pros.
I will sit down and watch college baseball first inning through ninth inning so much more than I do any Major League Baseball game because I enjoy it so much.
It's the imperfection that's almost endearing about it.
Yeah.
Because if you're watching an MLB game, that shortstop turns two. That left fielder probably comes up with it. But it's the imperfection in the college game because they're still learning that makes it less predictable and more entertaining.
And it's just here we are, and LSU's back in it. And, you know, for as cursed as some other teams in Louisiana seem to be, LSU baseball is not. Yeah. LSU baseball, it's unbelievable. All the breaks seem to go their way, and hopefully they can get national title number 8 this year. All right. That's great for LSU, but this is obviously a Saints podcast, so we're going to get into Saints topic today. And it's a topic that honestly has flown under the radar a little bit because we've watched him at practice. He's done some good things at practice. He plays a premier position. He plays the premier position. He was the highest draft pick at this position since Archie Manning. But there is a little business to discuss when we talk about Saints quarterback Tyler Shough, in that maybe you kind of forgot about this. We kind of put it in the back of our mind. He still hadn't signed his contract. And I know it's tricky now with the new CBA. Second-round picks tend to be there's not a whole lot of holdouts anymore, but tend to be the last ones to sign. I know it was the true with Alontae Taylor and a couple of the second-round picks. But that's where we wanted to go with the big picture today. Tyler Shough still unsigned to his rookie contract.
Yeah, you know, and it's gone under the radar because there's no dramatic holdout. He was still at rookie camp, OTAs, mini camp, taking all the reps, but he still has not signed his contract. And according to former agent Joe Corey, he's looking for a fully guaranteed contract, which before this year had never happened for a seventh rounder, but things are starting to change, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But Sean, the question is, does Tyler Shough deserve a fully guaranteed contract as a second-round pick?
Yeah, this isn't a discussion I didn't expect us to have. This is a discussion that really hasn't popped up until this year, and this is interesting because he's a quarterback. And honestly, from the second he's gotten drafted, he's done everything right. I mean, just endearing himself to the city. I saw there was a video of him shucking oysters, Tyler Shough. Yeah. I get it. But this is a part of the business, and this is a part of the the industry that is, it's not fully different anymore, but it's different than when you're in college, although, NIL is starting to take over with certain things. He wants a full 4-year, fully guaranteed deal. Now, full disclosure, first-round picks have been getting fully guaranteed contracts since the new CBA came out. Second-round picks have not until this year. And in that article, I encourage you guys to go read it. This is Joel Corey. He's a former agent. Read his stuff all the time because he really does a nice job of breaking down the business of things, and it's a lot of inside baseball. It's a lot of how the sausage is made type stuff where you can get lost in numbers a little bit, but there was one little snippet of information in there that caught my eye, and it was the football aspect that his people are insisting on a fully guaranteed contract because his camp expects him to be the starting quarterback in 2025. Now, let me just say, I fully expected Tyler Shough to expect to be the starting quarterback because he's a competitor. He wants to win the job. He's walked in from day one carried himself like a quarterback. But there is still a long way to go before that actually happens. I can understand his camp maybe wanting to play that card from a business standpoint, but that has not been decided from a football standpoint. So while I love the confidence and the agents certainly are going to do what they have to do, he may want that, he may expect it, but that is not a guarantee right now. Let's just put that in one lane. Let's get back to the discussion about business in the other. Because it sounds to me like because of that, other second-round picks have gotten fully guaranteed contracts, and this is the first year it's ever been done. This is according to Joe Corey. Jaden Higgins, 34th overall, was the first one to get it. Fully guaranteed, 4 years, $11.7 million. Carden, he was the 34th overall pick, which means he was the second pick in the second round. The very next day, Browns linebacker Carson Schlesinger, who it looks to me as the 33rd overall pick, which was the first pick in the second round, he got a fully guaranteed contract, 4 years, $11.8. So it went from $11.8 fully guaranteed with the first pick to $11.7 with the second pick, because I was trying to ballpark where Shough would be on the scale in terms of how much money he would get if it goes from 0.8 to 0.7, from 33 to 34, 34 to 33. I'm thinking it's 4 years, $11 million, somewhere in that neighborhood for Tyler Shough. And when you read that article, yes, Shough wants it, and maybe he deserves it because he's a quarterback, or maybe he has the biggest leg to stand on because he's the quarterback. Those other two are not. Wide receiver. Y'all know how much I love Jaden Higgins. You know how much I love him. And Carson Schlesinger, he wasn't my mock draft, was a linebacker. But it sounds to me like because he's holding up, the rest of the second round is holding up. And the picks between 34 and 40 are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If Shough getting that guaranteed money, I want the guaranteed money. So I don't know if this is agents. The agent community is very small, maybe kind of, I don't want to say colluding, but hey, let's try to make this work, get what's best for our players. It sounds to me like there's a little bit of reluctance. I don't know as much from the Saints end, because you're fully guaranteed, what is that, $2.5 million a season? It's not like it's a whole lot of money. But it sounds to me like they're afraid of the precedent being set for a second-round pick getting fully guaranteed money, because if Shough gets it, the guys in between Hayden and Shough are going to want it too, and they're probably going to have to get it. So there's a lot riding on the Saints' decision here, and it sounds to me also the guys behind Shough, because those are only 2 second-round picks that have been signed to contracts. 30 other second-round picks have not been signed. The guys after Shough, well, they might not get fully guaranteed contracts, but they'll get a lot of it guaranteed, and perhaps they want to make the 40th kind of overall selection being kind of that line where it's like, all right, if you get picked in the top 40, you're getting a fully guaranteed contract. And the Shough have that kind of muscle, have that kind of juice to get it done. I guess we're going to find out. Does he deserve it? Look, I would have no problem with $11 million guaranteed. I mean, it sounds a lot to you and me and to you probably watching, but in the grand scheme of things in the NFL, it's really not that much of a guaranteed money. If you want to cut the guy, it makes it a little harder, but you think you're going to cut him within 4 years? I guess it's possible, but if you do, it's not a huge dead money hit to make. And I don't want to get too far down the math aspect of this, but it sounds like there's a lot riding on this from an NFL and from an NFLPA standpoint, where they're trying to get as much guaranteed money as possible, and the NFL is trying to avoid as much guaranteed money as possible for players who have not played it down in the NFL. And
this is where it's interesting, because right now, essentially, the whole league is looking at the Saints. The whole league is looking at Tyler Shough, because the NFL is a copycat league. Before this year, a second rounder had never gotten a fully guaranteed contract. Houston Texans give Jaden Higgins his early, by the way, May 8th. So before rookie minicamp, I believe. Or if it was very
around
early,
that time, right.
very early in the process. So Higgins gets his fully guaranteed. So the Browns, they see the writing on the wall. They say, okay, well, we picked the guy right above Higgins. If Higgins got his fully guaranteed, we're not going to mess around. We're going to give our guy fully guaranteed. Okay. Shough says, I'm a quarterback. According to Joe Corey, who wrote this article, Shough and his camp expect to start. And I think it's fair for a starting quarterback to want his contract fully guaranteed. So now it's the entire NFL is looking at Tyler Shough and the Saints for two completely different reasons. From the players and the agents' perspective, they're hoping the Saints pay Shough because now picks 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, hey, this guy got drafted after us. He got fully guaranteed. Go ahead and guarantee us. The guys after Shough, yeah, go ahead and maybe not guarantee us fully, but the scale of maybe guarantee those first 3 years, give us 50, 60, 70% of year 4. All of a sudden, things shift. And you know, once you take that cap off, the water only continues to flow even heavier. So now, this year, if Tyler Shough gets his guaranteed, you're looking at potentially 7, 8 second-round picks wanting fully guaranteed contracts, which is something that's never happened before. Then it's only going to get more next year. It's only going to be more than that the year after that. Once you kind of open that door, a lot of people are going to want to go through it. From the NFL and the owners' perspectives, I'm sure they're saying they hope the Saints don't pay Shough that guaranteed money. Because, like I said, once you open that door, a lot of people are going to want that, to where a couple years from now, maybe every second rounder wants a guaranteed contract similar to the first rounder. So it's interesting how the whole NFL is kind of looking at the Saints and Shough to see what they're going to do, because that affects not only what they do this year, but maybe the new norm in the future of the NFL. And when it comes to Shough expecting to be the starter, I mean, he should. I mean, if he was drafted in the second round by an organization who had not drafted a quarterback that high since 1971, and he didn't expect to be the starter, I'd have a problem with that. So yeah, I'm cool with Shough expecting to be the starter, and obviously he knows he still has to earn it. I think we'll learn a lot. We've learned a little bit, through the last 4 or 5 weeks, but we'll learn a lot more once we get to training camp. But I'm curious to see how the team will handle this, because if it was easy, it would have been done already. I mean, Shough got drafted, what, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it was easy, if it was just put pen to paper, yeah, you want that, sure, we'll give it to you. If it was that easy, he'd already have a contract signed. So clearly there's things going on behind the scenes that complicate this matter a little bit.
Yeah, there are, but there's a couple of things that, this is a delicate balance, because he's not a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Okay, so while I think the path to getting on the field early is very real and very clear for Shough, I think it can be done. He's not a first-round pick, so he doesn't quite have the clout as a first-round pick expectation would have. Why do I bring that up? Well, I bring that up because I don't think for a player like Shough, where he expects to go, and if this drags, I don't think a holdout is in his best interest.
Correct.
I think he needs as much football as possible. Obviously, he played a lot of college football, but it was a lot of stop, start over the last 7 years. And from the looks of just watching him practice, how he engages with the guys, the camaraderie he already seems to have with the guys, you don't want to disrupt that flow. It wouldn't shock me at all if we start seeing videos pop up somewhere on the West Coast where all the receivers got together and he was throwing to them. I mean, he seems to be that type of guy. You don't want to kill that momentum. That first training camp is so huge. It is so huge if you're a rookie. And I know he's an older rookie, but while I do think there is a little bit of leverage here in that you're the quarterback, and having a guaranteed contract that averages out to like $2.5 or $3 million, just under $3 million a season, is not a crazy, insane amount to ask for. It's not a crazy, insane request to have. But also, he's not quite there yet. So I do think now's fine, and this can last up until late July. But when it gets close to training camp time, you got to get a deal signed, because your development now and getting on the field as quickly as possible, which is ultimately what you want, is more important than that 4th-year guarantee. Because you could probably get all the first 3 years guaranteed. And if you get 60, 70, 80% of the 4th year guaranteed, that's great. And you also set the precedent for years to come. Hey, a top 40 selection can get 3 of the 4 years guaranteed plus 60, 70, 80% of the 4th year guaranteed. If you're going to kind of go by scale based off Jaden Higgins and Carson Sweat are already starting that, getting that ball rolling, then I think it's reasonable to think you want the 4th year guarantee, but if you get most of it, not all of it, that's more important and getting into training camp on time than holding out for a 4th year where, okay, they're offering me 50% guaranteed, I want 100% guaranteed, meet in the middle, get on the field, because the time you would lose in training camp, you may not gain that back because you just don't want to fall behind the competition.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the unfortunate part of it, because I think he does deserve it. He wasn't a first-round quarterback, but the Saints picked him to do what you would pick a first-round quarterback to do, essentially. For this organization, he has a strong chance of starting day one. For this organization, picking a quarterback that high is unheard of in our lifetimes, essentially. And I think back to the conversation we had a few months ago when Jamar Chase got paid, and we started talking about Chris Olave potentially getting a contract similar to Jamar Chase. Both of us look at Chris Olave at this moment as more of a high-end number 2 receiver than a number 1. But that doesn't change the fact that for the Saints, Chris Olave has been asked to be a number 1, so he should ask to get paid as a number 1. So for the Saints, bringing it back to Tyler Shough, Tyler Shough could potentially be asked to be their starting quarterback.
Right.
But the unfortunate part about it is he doesn't have as much leverage as the Saints do in this situation, because from the Saints' point of view, Tyler Shough, you have to get on the field. You have to be there for day 1 of training camp because you got a job to win.
And I think the Saints know that. And let me just say this about the Saints. There are times their salary cap, the way they do things, has gone from unique and I guess popular to kind of falling out of favor now. Let's put it that way, put it gently. But they generally do right by their guys when it comes to market value. I mean, they generally do. I mean, I think they're not one of these, overly cheap organizations. I don't think they necessarily overpay a lot. I know you can kind of come up with some examples. The Jarvis Bird thing just jumps out right away as just a massive miss and an overpay. But let's think about how many have they really? I mean, look, they've swung and missed on free agents, there's no doubt. But I don't know if they've swung and missed from a hugely terrible contracts, overpay type situation. So my point of bringing that up is I don't think the Saints want this to get messy. I think it's fine right now because there's no real urgency, because like they always say, deadlines tend to spur action, and the deadline for this will be the start of training camp. By the way, they're going to report July 22nd, which probably means the 23rd will be their first practice. So you got basically a month to get it done. I would love to know, and I'm trying to figure it out right now. That's what I was looking up. I would love to know where the 3rd round pick money is right now, because that would give you a scale in terms of just how much money the rest of the 2nd round will be getting in terms of where the salary slotting would go. But I think in Shough's case, play it out, see if you can get it. Hopefully you get it, thus the rest of the players get it, at least the ones from 34 to 40. But you got to look for yourself. It's one thing, you get that for yourself, but you also get it for the other guys. But at the end of the day, your career is the one that matters. Yeah. And right now, as a rookie 2nd round pick, you got to make sure you're on the football field on time, ready to practice. That is the most important thing. And it's also something else I want to bring up. Yes, it's your career. Yes, it's you got to focus on what you can control. And right now, what you control is just getting better as a player. But look at the outside factors involved here. This is Jaden Higgins, and so he shouldn't be being worried about that, but yet he's indirectly kind of involved with the rest of what's happening in the 2nd round. And I think that's a unique situation to be in, because you're always told control what you control, control what you control, don't really worry about anybody else. And here he is, he's kind of in the middle. Indirectly, his agents are kind of worried about everybody else right now. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, and when it comes to Shough, one thing I can guarantee you, Spencer Rattler going to be at camp.
Oh, he going to be there.
Spencer Rattler will be there, and he'll be ready to make a statement and win that job. As Tyler Shough, you can't afford to miss even a week of camp, because right now, the way you look at this battle, the most lopsided you can say it is what, 51-49?
Right, exactly.
52-48? Either way, you know, neither of these quarterbacks set themselves apart from the other in OTAs and in mandatory minicamp from a performance standpoint. Now, you can kind of see them stand apart from the kind of quarterbacks that they are, but from a performance standpoint, they're still pretty even. If you're Tyler Shough, you expect to, according to this article, you expect to be the starter. You're going to have to get in there and beat out Spencer Rattler. To do that, you have to be at camp every day. You have to earn the respect of your teammates, because this is an old organization. You touched on this a few weeks ago. Just like the coaches are going to be watching this battle, the veterans on this team who are, you know, I mean, this is their, if not their last ride, it's one of their last years in the NFL. The Cam Jordans, the DeMario Davises, the Tyrann Matthews, the guys like that who know that they're closer to the end than the beginning. If they're looking at camp and they see person A outperform person B, but person B is the one that got the job because of politics, that ain't gonna work.
Well, and to just kind of reiterate that point, if person B ain't there, person B ain't there, it's like, whoa.
And it's one thing if you're Cam Ward.
This is a second round pick. This ain't number 1 overall pick. This is a second round pick.
Yeah.
And he's holding out. Some will probably like they got it. It's his contractual business. It's his business. But some will be like, come on, man. No.
Yeah.
Get to camp. This is not a. You ain't Drew Brees yet. You're not a situation where you can sort of have that demand. So right now the timeline is good. I don't think the Saints want this to get messy. You wouldn't make this kind of investment. You wouldn't make this kind of statement by drafting Tyler Shough this high to just all of a sudden get into a squabble over what could amount to a couple $100,000 guaranteed.
Right.
You don't want to do that. So I think from the Saints' perspective, they're going to want to get this done. I think Tyler Shough, the player and the person, is going to ultimately want to get this done. I think Tyler Shough, and as the 40th overall pick, the businessman with an agent, has got to look out for his best interest. But I think at the end of the day, this deal gets done. And I'm very curious to see what it ultimately gets done, because if he gets the fully guaranteed, guess what? He won. And not only did he win,
a lot of
players won this year.
Won.
And from years on, now and from here on out, because if he gets this fully guaranteed money, like I said before, now every draft pick in the top 40, that'd probably be the line of, like I said, the dividing line. Every pick inside the top 40 is going to get guaranteed money. So the rest of the NFL players, the rest of the young draft picks from here on out, could thank Tyler Shough for that. So stay tuned.
The Saints could
we'll
also
see what happens.
The Saints could also prove something here. Because one thing that the Houston Texans can say right now, the team that started this all by signing a guy who's projected to be, their third string receiver day one if he wins the job, by signing Jaden Higgins to a fully guaranteed contract that they did not have to do. Once again, this has never been done in the history of the league, a second rounder getting a fully guaranteed deal. They gave a wide receiver a fully guaranteed deal. The Texans can look at future rookies, they can look at free agents, and they can say, look, we take care of our guys. We didn't have to do this for Jaden Higgins, but we did it because that's the kind of organization we are. We take care of our people. That's why you should come play here. So just like the rest of the NFL is looking at Tyler Shough and the Saints from a perspective of, what are they going to do? Are they going to set the new norm in the NFL moving forward, or are they going to, put a kind of a stop and keep the status quo? There are free agents watching. There are the rookies watching. There are young players watching to say the Saints have an opportunity to make a statement here and say, hey, we're going to take care of our guy. We draft this guy. There's a strong chance that he can be our starting quarterback. We're going to give him what he deserves. I don't care what the rest of the league says. We're going to give him that fully guaranteed money. So the Saints could, ingratiate themselves with a lot of fans, a lot of future potential players, with what they decide here.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point because, I'll kind of keep saying it, what could you gain if you're the Saints by setting this precedent? Well, you can gain a solid reputation amongst players, which can't hurt. Look at Cincinnati right now. They're already having an issue with Shamar Stewart. They with language as a first-round pick. It's all they've all been done. All the first-round picks have been done except that one. I think there's one or two.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, Travis, which I can understand that being a unique one. the Saints can set this precedent, and maybe some of the NFL buddies might get mad at them. But at the end of the day, they can say, guys, look at the guarantee. Look at what I actually guaranteed. Look at what we did. Look at the actual monetary value. It ain't that much.
Right.
It really is not that much. You can maneuver it in other ways. And by the way, if your vision of Tyler Shough, if you connect, that's going to be a bargain by year 4.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't, okay, he's on the books for $3 million in 27. So maybe it is the time for the Saints to say, you know what, we've taken a hit the last couple of years. We've been down. Like, maybe this is a new era. Maybe this is a new way of doing things. Let's just do it. And if the NFL teams are mad at us, so be it. Let it be mad at us. And if you're Tyler Shough, you just can't let it get to the training camp, because honestly, you need to get on the field. You may expect to be the starter, but you ain't the starter yet.
Yep.
You haven't even done 11 on 11. You haven't seen a blitz yet. You haven't put a pad on yet. You haven't, seen, them, showing blitz from one side, come from the other, or drop a guy out, and you throw it to the spot, and you can get picked off. That happens all the time with rookies. So you got to get your butt to camp and don't let this thing linger. So that's where ultimately I stand.
Right, and the last quick point for Tyler Shough, another reason why it's understandable that he would want fully guaranteed money. How many season-ending injuries did he have in college?
Oh, yeah, right.
3, I think, season-ending injuries in college. So for someone with a bit of an injury history, you got to guarantee, the well-being of yourself financially and the well-being of your family financially, because NFL stands for not for long. One hit, and you may not reach year 4 of that contract. So it's understandable that the young guy would want, or middle-aged guy, I guess, by NFL terms. That was the whole thing coming out the draft. But it's understandable that he would want that fully guaranteed deal.
Good
I
deal.
say give it to him.
All right. Me too. Who cares? I mean, it'd be like $11 million. Who cares? All right, we got to get out of here. For Andre Johnson Jr., I'm Sean Fazende. We will catch you guys next time on Overtime.